I've been involved with the new Longsight housing for about now 14 years.
It's about 10 or 11 years now.
About 18 and a half years now, I think, yeah. Soon be having my own anniversary.
26 years this year.
I lived in Withington at the time, and I was a member of quite a lot of different community groups, and I think it was through one of those originally I heard there was a housing co-op in Longsight.
I joined the co-op pretty much when I moved over to Manchester, got my name down on the waiting list, which was through, I have friends that have been in the co-op for years.
I joined it shortly after it was started.
July, I think, 2002, I got the first flat that I had, which was in Beresford Road, which was lovely.
I've been in this house now for 4 years. Prior to that, I lived on the Queen's Grove estate for 10.
You can imagine with 4 children under the age of 10 in a house that small, it was really quite difficult, and I only had 2 bedrooms at the time.
Just over 2 years ago, I moved to Stockport Road, to a little 2-bedroom house, which is quite a bit bigger than the flat was, and it was very cosy, very nice.
So I've lived here, like I say, for nearly about 18 and a half years, and this has been my only co-op house, yeah, and we've had 4 generations living here. I can remember the day that we were actually offered the accommodation, and I'd arranged to come down and have a look, and I saw this one on the corner, and I actually walked past it, even though it said number 72 on the door. I walked past because I thought, when I saw the size of it, it couldn't possibly be a family home, because coming from somewhere so tiny, it was a shock to me. I remember the first thing I did was actually count the windows, and I realised there was something like 22 windows. I think it always stays in my mind. And then I was trying to imagine how many light bulbs, and so it went on really. But just the thought of the space for my children, I just couldn't believe it really. I was really excited about it.
I've been on the committee now for 10 years. In that time I've done various roles. I've been the treasurer twice. I'm treasurer at the moment. I've also been secretary.
I'm on the committee, I'm the secretary.
And just taken on the role of J&C member.
The members have a lot of say in what goes on in the co-op, so I think it's a good thing.
I've been involved with them from the very beginning. I think it's really important that if you're able to, as a tenant, to, you know, help the people who you're actually living with as a community.
Because it's such a small, compact co-op, where, you know, Jean and Fazana and a lot of the residents all know each other, that it's that little bit more personal in the service that you get.
And I started off from doing things like stuffing envelopes with the newsletter. And I remember we'd have kind of a little production line going around the table, because I got the children involved as well, and I can see the leaflets now as we're going round, and a bowl of popcorn in the middle for a bit of incentive, and we were all putting these, collating the newsletter together. So it was, for me, it was a real good way to be really, because not only did I know that I was being useful, I was also providing my children with the knowledge of what actually people can do together if they put their mind to it.
It's brilliant not having to spend half or 2/3 of my income on housing costs, and still be with a landlord that looks after the properties really well, that looks after the tenants really well, that has the interests of the tenants at its heart, not just the interests of you know, unseen shareholders and people trying to make a fast buck out of it.
I find that if I have any problems for repair or anything, as soon as I report it, you know, it's being sorted out.
It's very multicultural. It's not like you've got 80% whites, 10% Asians, 10% black Afro-Caribbeans. It's very, very mixed of all nations. So I think in them actually housing people, I think, me personally, I think they've got a really good mixed range of ethnic backgrounds.
By virtue of the jobs I've done with the co-op, I can see firsthand how well run it is, how financially stable the organisation is, and just how much it is run for the interests of the tenants and not the other way around. And I think we've got such a good asset in particularly Jean and Fazana, the workers that we've got for the Co-op.
I think a lot of the current Co-op members don't realise how the Co-op came to be, and I think it's quite important to remind people of, it's very much a grassroots organisation that started by people who were living in the area, horrified when some of Longsight was going to be knocked down as part of the slum clearance.
The fact that basically the country is going to rack and ruin because of the way everything's been based on the property market, and it's property is seen as an investment and something that you make money out of rather than it's somewhere to live.
Having the government the way it's going as well, they said that we're in a double recession, which you can actually see.
And it's now got to the point where, as I say, I work for a social landlord that does supposedly affordable housing, and I can't afford their affordable housing. So being in the Co-op has been an absolute boon as far as finances is concerned.
One of my daughters, Kemi, is also in a Co-op house. This is her second Co-op house. She has a young son, a very lively young son.
You two go up there while I just do something. Ow! Ow!
Where have you gone?
I'm in here, but I'm just doing something. Ouch! If you do that, I'll smack you.
Kai, aren't you
I'm making a tower.
Kai,
Yeah?
aren't you lucky you've got a big bedroom like this? You can put all your toys in. Eh?
Because I love toys.
You love toys. Do you love your bedroom?
Yeah?
And we're actually living in a Co-op house on Stockport Road. With him being young and and very lively, he needed to be somewhere a bit safer. What's that you've got there, Kai? What is it?
It's too big for me now because I'm a bit...
It's a special suitcase, isn't it?
Yeah. My clothes for it.
Your
When I
clothes
go to Jamaica.
When you go to Jamaica? Yeah, you've been to Jamaica.
I am in England now.
You're in England now.
Because I like England.
She'd been with them a number of years and then kept her name down and asked for some of these things which were important for Kai. And she's now in another Co-op house in the area, which has got ample space for him to be outdoors and get some of the things that he actually needs.
Big watch. What's the outside? Wait. You know this?
Oh, it's very wet out today.
No, that thing there. This is where the garden is. This is where the garden is.
Okay, I see where the garden is.
This is where
Not very well, but.
this is where the smelly bin is. It's smelly. That bit's smelly. That bit's really smelly.
The change it had in my family when we moved from that tiny house to here, I could begin to see their identities. They had room, just to kind of grow and experience childhood like you should really, because just the space of having their own space, being able to be somewhere in the house, and if you wanted that quiet time you were able to have it, or if you wanted to go in the midst of it you were able. It just made a difference to where we were as a family.
Mouthwash. This one's mine and this one's my mum's. But what's that thing on you?
Oh, this? That's a piercing.
But why do you have it on your lip?
I don't know. How do you answer that? I've got a very long time.
Has it got holes?
I've got a hole in my lip now. Yeah, where the ring goes through.
Are you putting it forever?
Yeah.
When you sleep down?
Yeah. When I sleep and when I eat. Yeah.
I don't have one.
No.
I don't have any of those.
I think the Co-op will be going for a long time because a lot of young people are coming in now, When it started, it was just a few members, but now it's they've got quite a few houses now rented, so it will be going on for a long time.
So I hope it continues in the same vein for many years to come, and that if I come to move on from the Co-op, that it's still there for someone else to take up the opportunity. Long may it continue.
And I've worked here now for a long time, and I sort of feel I'm coming sort of nearer to the end of when I'll be working here. And so the party is important to me because it's a celebration of all that's been achieved since over the last 30 years. And I think a lot has been achieved. From starting from having no houses and getting the funding to now have 90 tenants. I think that's a wonderful achievement.
New Longsight Housing Co-op, 30 years of history to its name. This story is a chapter from where we began and how we came. A group of people had thought and planted the seed. Affordable, decent houses became their creed. Hence off they went to Liverpool for direction and inspiration. Toxteth Housing Co-op had caused quite a sensation. And deep from the slums of Manchester, Birch Housing Co-op was born. A group of local people were ready to perform. Their co-op held on to us firmly, giving guidance when needed most. Then triumphantly, out of more debris, New Longsight Housing Co-op were eager to boast. We gathered members and found tenants prepared to dedicate, and this they did with commitment. The evidence is great. Eventually, we built and developed, then held a huge party on Tatum Close. Bill Williams and Catherine Johnson proudly became our host. They used the media to promote us, telling how we had focused on need, and it was all the hard work and commitment that had helped us to succeed. We know it takes teamwork, and we have many who are part of that team. Jean, Fazana, Mick and Verna, and how could I forget Mrs. Green? It's true we have many members, their work dependable, so we take this opportunity to say a huge thank you. What you do is commendable. New Longsight Housing Co-op, more than providing houses, more than creating fame, and now we have reached 30 years, we are more than a household name.